Welcome!
One day, you notice a feeling that follows you every time you think about speaking English, and you can no longer ignore it. The fear is there when you try to say a simple sentence, and it stops your voice before it starts. You tell yourself that you will speak later, when you feel more ready and more confident. But this moment never comes, and the fear stays the same or even grows. You begin to see that waiting is not helping you at all. This realization makes you think in a more honest way about your situation. As you observe this pattern, you understand that fear does not disappear just because you wait or avoid it. In fact, the more you wait, the stronger it becomes inside your mind. Each time you choose not to speak, your confidence becomes smaller, and your voice feels weaker. You begin to feel that the problem is not your English, but your reaction to this fear. This idea is difficult, but it is also clear and direct. You start to see that avoiding the problem only makes it bigger. Then you begin to understand something very important about growth and learning. Avoiding a challenge does not protect you, it only delays your progress and keeps you in the same place. You see that other people who speak English also had fear at some point, but they did not let it stop them. This thought changes your perspective, because now you know that fear is part of the process. It is not a sign that you should stop, but a sign that you need to act. This understanding gives you a new way to look at your situation. This becomes a turning point in your journey, because now you make a decision that feels different from before. You decide that you will start speaking, even if the fear is still there and your voice feels unsure. You accept that your pronunciation will not be perfect, and that mistakes will happen. But you also understand that action is the only way to improve. This decision is not easy, but it is honest and strong. You choose to move forward instead of staying in the same place. From this moment, something begins to change inside you, even if it is still small and quiet. You are no longer waiting for fear to disappear before you act. Instead, you decide to act with fear and continue anyway. This gives you a new kind of strength, because it comes from your choice, not from your feelings. You understand that courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to continue. And this is how your journey truly begins, with a simple but powerful step forward. After you accept that fear will not disappear, you take your first real risk, and this moment feels important in a new way. You decide to speak simple sentences in English, even if your voice feels unsure and your mind feels slow. You start with basic phrases that you already know, and you say them out loud. At the beginning, your voice feels different, and your pronunciation is not clear. You notice your hands feel tense and your heart beats faster than usual. Even so, you continue, because you know this step matters. As you speak, your voice shakes a little, and your words come out with hesitation, but they still come out. You try to say short sentences about your day, and you repeat them more than once. You listen to your own voice, and it sounds strange to you, but you keep going. You understand that this is normal, because you are doing something new. Each word feels like a small effort, but also a small victory. This effort begins to build something inside you. Then comes a moment that feels uncomfortable, and it becomes a light climax in your journey. You feel embarrassed when you hear your own pronunciation, and you think that your English is not good enough. For a moment, you want to stop speaking and return to what feels easier and safer. You feel that other people would judge your voice, even if no one is there. This thought makes you hesitate and almost give up your practice. The feeling is strong, and it tests your decision. But instead of stopping, you take a breath and choose to continue, even with this discomfort inside you. You remind yourself that this is your first risk, and it is normal to feel this way. You repeat a sentence again, a little slower, and try to improve the sound. You accept that mistakes are part of the process and that they will help you learn. This choice makes you feel a little stronger, because you did not stop. You begin to understand that progress is built in these moments. From that point on, you see your practice in a different way, and this changes your mindset. You understand that taking risks is necessary if you want to improve your English. Your voice may not be perfect, but it is active, and that is what matters now. Each time you speak, you build more confidence and more control over your pronunciation. You begin to trust your effort, even if it is still small. And this is how your first risk becomes the start of real growth. After your first risk, you begin to understand that courage is not something that appears before you speak. It grows after you open your mouth, even when your voice feels unsure. Each time you say a sentence in English, the fear becomes a little smaller, because your mind learns that speaking is not as dangerous as it imagined. You still feel nervous sometimes, but now the feeling does not stop you so quickly. You begin to see that fear loses power when you act. This makes you more willing to try again the next day. As you continue speaking, your pronunciation starts to improve because you are using the language more often. Your mouth becomes more familiar with English sounds, and your voice begins to follow your thoughts with less resistance. Words that once felt difficult now feel a little easier because you have repeated them many times. You still make mistakes, but they no longer feel like a reason to stop. Instead, they become part of your practice. This helps you feel more patient with yourself and more focused on progress. Then you notice a change in the way you respond to difficult moments. Before, when you felt afraid, you waited for confidence to arrive before speaking. Now, you understand that confidence often comes after action, not before it. You speak first, and then courage grows from that experience. This idea changes your whole learning process, because you stop waiting for the perfect feeling. You begin to trust small actions more than big emotions. Every sentence becomes proof that you can continue. This becomes an important point in your journey, because your voice starts to sound firmer than before. You do not speak perfectly, but you speak with more control and less hesitation. Your sentences are still simple, but they come out more clearly and with more intention. Other people can understand you more easily, and that gives you even more confidence. You begin to feel that your English is no longer hidden inside your mind. It is becoming something you can use in real life. From this point on, you carry a powerful lesson with you. Courage is not a gift that arrives one day and suddenly changes everything. It is something you build by speaking, trying, correcting, and speaking again. The more you use your English, the stronger your voice becomes, and the less fear controls your choices. You understand that every small sentence can help build a stronger future. Your pronunciation improves, your confidence grows, and your voice becomes more steady. This is how courage grows, not before you act, but because you act. Then one day, the real test arrives without warning, and you understand that practice is no longer only practice. You are in a normal situation, maybe at a store, at school, at work, or during a trip, and someone speaks to you in English. For a moment, your heart beats faster, because this is not a recording you can pause or a sentence you can repeat alone. This is a real person waiting for your answer. You feel nervous, but you also remember all the times you spoke even when your voice was unsure. So you take a breath and decide to answer with the English you already have. At first, your words come slowly, but they come with more control than you expected. You choose simple sentences, because you understand that communication is more important than perfect grammar. You say what you need, listen carefully, and try to catch the main meaning of the answer. The person understands you, and this gives you a small but powerful feeling of relief. You ask one short question, then answer another one, and the conversation continues. It is not perfect, but it works, and that is the moment when you realize your practice is helping you in real life. As the situation continues, something important begins to happen inside you. You notice that your fear is still present, but it is not controlling you like before. Your pronunciation is clearer than it used to be, and your voice does not shake as much. You understand more words, and your mind responds faster because you have trained it many times. Even when you miss one detail, you do not panic, because you know how to ask, "Can you repeat, please?" That simple question keeps the conversation alive. You feel that your English is no longer only inside your notebook, it is active in the world. This becomes the second strong climax of your journey, because this real moment proves that you have changed. All the small practices, all the repeated phrases, and all the uncomfortable attempts have created something real. You did not notice every step while it was happening, but now the result is in front of you. You are communicating better than you expected, and that gives you honest confidence. This confidence is different from motivation, because it comes from experience. You now have proof that your effort was not wasted and that your voice has become stronger. After the conversation ends, you feel proud because you did not escape from the challenge. You may still remember a few mistakes, but they no longer feel like failure. Instead, they feel like part of the path that helped you reach this moment. Your confidence grows in a real way because you lived the test and continued through it. From now on, English feels less like a dream and more like a tool you can use. You understand that the real test did not show your weakness, it showed your progress. And because of that, you are ready to keep speaking, keep improving, and keep trusting your voice. At the end of this journey, you stop and look at everything you did, and you see a clear change inside you. You remember the first days, when fear was strong and your voice did not want to come out. Now, the fear is still there sometimes, but it no longer controls your actions. You understand that fear did not disappear, and that is normal for anyone learning something new. The difference is that you became stronger and learned how to move forward anyway. This realization feels honest and powerful, because it shows your true growth. As you think about your progress, you see that your English improved because you chose to speak, even when you felt afraid. You did not wait for confidence to arrive before you started, and that made all the difference. Each time you spoke, your voice became a little stronger, and your pronunciation became clearer. You repeated words, tried sentences, and accepted mistakes as part of your path. This constant action created real change in your ability. You understand now that speaking, even with fear, is what built your progress. Your voice has changed in a way that you can feel every time you speak. Before, your voice was weak and unsure, and your words came out slowly with hesitation. Now, your voice is more stable, and your sentences come with more control and clarity. You still use simple English, but it is enough to express your ideas and communicate. This gives you more confidence, because you trust your voice more than before. Your attitude also changes, because you are no longer afraid to try. You feel more open to new situations and new conversations. This becomes the final climax of your journey, because now you understand the real reason behind your progress. It was not talent, and it was not perfect conditions that helped you grow. It was your decision to take risks, again and again, even when it felt uncomfortable. Each risk made you stronger, and each attempt helped your English become more real. You see that progress is built through action, not through waiting. This truth changes how you see learning and how you see yourself. From this point on, you carry a lesson that will guide you in many parts of your life. You understand that fear will appear in new challenges, but it does not have to stop you. You know now that you can act even when you feel unsure, and that gives you strength. Your English will continue to grow because you will continue to speak and practice. Your confidence will keep rising, and your voice will become stronger over time. And you understand that taking risks was not a mistake, it was the reason you moved forward.